Hello, hello, hi, how are you doing? I hope you are thriving through this midwinter season. We have a pretty gentle balsamic and new moon week this week. There are a few energetic pieces, planetary pieces that I want to tell you about. But before I get into that, I just want to remind you it's still midwinter. And even though the consensus culture is telling us it's a time of fresh new beginnings and to hit the ground running and start setting your big goals, it's great if you feel like doing that. But if your body is telling you to take a slower start, if your body is telling you that you still need rest and quiet and some time spent with family and some time spent with hand-on crafts and some time spent in the kitchen or whatever makes you feel cozy in that midwinter way, if you're still feeling the need of that, that's so natural. And I hope that you can find a way to honor that. Midwinter in the Northern Hemisphere, Capricorn season, is a natural time of rest and renewal. And I want to remind you that we can define rest lots of different ways at this time of year. Doesn't mean that you have to curl up on the couch with a book and a cup of tea, although I love that and I encourage that. The kind of rest that we crave can also be about being out in nature more. It can be about engaging in playful movement. It can be about spending as much time as you can in flow state activities, even if that's the more creative part of your work. It can be about recreational learning and indulging your creativity. It can be about spending time with the people that you love and having deep conversations and telling and sharing stories. These are all actually traditional ways to spend those indoor times, the cold and dark times of the year. So if you're craving rest, it's okay. There's plenty of time in this season for goal setting. We do have a lot of planetary support for that kind of goal setting and ambition and drive. But there's time and space for that as well as for nourishing midwinter rest. So I'm Bronwyn. I am a predictive astrologer and astrology mentor. I live here on beautiful Vancouver Island, and I'm here to share astrology with you in the hopes that you will find it nurturing and nourishing, that you will find my sharing of astrology to be something that connects you more deeply with natural cycles and with your own natural rhythms. So this week, and I'm talking about January 8th to 15th, 2024, we are in the balsamic and new phases of the moon. This is the period of the dark of the moon, right before the renewal of the lunar cycle. So it's the very end and the very beginning of a new lunar cycle. We're heading into a new moon in Capricorn. So remembering that the new moon is just all about the sun meeting up with the moon. So it's always going to be in the sign of that solar season. We have new moon in Capricorn coming up this Thursday. So now, as I'm speaking to you, we're in that deep, dark, balsamic period, which again is about rest and renewal. It's about thinking about what we're really ready to let go of from the last 29 days and what is the essence that we want to carry forward into the next cycle. That's the wisdom of the balsamic moon. And then we get to enter into the gestational dark of the new moon and start to dream our way into the next 29 days, which will take us from Capricorn to Aquarius season. So planetary supports that we have around this new moon this week. The week started on Monday with a square between Mercury, our divine messenger, and Neptune, the place of our dreaming, the place where we seek and find God. So when the divine messenger meets up with spirit, what do you think happens? We can be receiving messages from spirit. We can be spending some extra time in those flow states I was talking about, or in our dream time. We may find, because this is Sagittarius that Mercury is in, a place where his communication is sometimes wordless, we may find that we're struggling with words this week, and yet we are giving and receiving really potent messages and communications. So notice that if you're struggling in a relationship with trying to communicate something this week, be forgiving of self and other, and be really aware of those nonverbal ways of communicating. What are you noticing about how the other person is reflecting their truth? It may not be coming out in words, because we all may be struggling a little bit with words this week, but it may be coming out in acts of service, right? Think about those love languages and the different ways that we have of communicating and expressing through our creativity, through our body language, through our acts and actions. So broaden your view a little bit of how others are communicating with you, and cut yourself some slack in your own communication if you find that you're struggling with words. It really is a week to tune in to the deeper ways, the kind of sixth sense, the ways that we receive messages from other people and from spirit that aren't in the verbal realm. Don't worry, by the time we get to Saturday and Mercury comes back into Capricorn, it'll be all about the to-do lists and the clear and focused communication. So there will be time for that. Now is not that time. There's another really cool thing that's happening with Mercury this week, that he's sitting on the Galactic Centre. That's at 28 degrees of Sagittarius. And that is a beautiful point. It's actually just what it says, the center of our galaxy. And some astrologers think that conjunctions with the Galactic Center bring those big spiritual cosmic downloads. They give us greater access to the transpersonal knowledge. So the fact that Mercury is talking both to Neptune and conjuncting the Galactic Center this week, I think makes us ripe for receiving messages from spirit. So think about some of the ways that we can do that. We can spend more time in dream time. You want to be resting anyway. So if you can go to bed a little bit early and spend an extra 5 minutes when you wake up in the morning, just kind of lying there and inviting your dreams to kind of gel into memory, and looking at those dreams for the messages that might be within them. Even imagery that seems negative can actually hold really potent positive messages. So be open to what the dream realm has to tell you this week. Be open to coincidence and synchronicity, those little things that fall into your path, the book that falls into your hand, the story or movie that you hear mentioned 3 different times this week. Maybe there's a message there for you. It's always a good idea when Mercury is active, as he always is in some way, right? It's always a good idea when Mercury is active to be alert to those funny little trickster ways he has of communicating, and listen to the synchronicities. So the highlight of the week is our new moon in Capricorn on the 11th. That's on Thursday in the wee hours of the morning here on the Pacific coast. And that meeting up of the sun and the moon happens at 20 degrees of Capricorn. So we want to be looking to the Capricorn house of our chart, especially if we have any placements around 20 degrees. But you can also look at all of the other cardinal houses in your chart. So look at Cancer, look at Aries, Libra, and especially at those degrees around 20. If you don't know your chart at all, that's okay. Think about new beginnings that you would like to embark on in the realm of what you work hard for, what your limits and boundaries are, where your ambitions are, and where you have a lot of endurance. Because Capricorn allows us to access all of that. So 20 degrees Capricorn, and that new moon is having some really interesting conversations with other planets. We have that Mercury sitting right on the Galactic Center at the time of the new moon. So new projects, ideas, creative stuff that we're seeding on this new moon might end up being really potent later. It's a beautiful new moon for beginnings. Every new moon is a new beginning. Some of them throughout the year hold a little more impact for those things that we want to manifest. And Capricorn is a manifesting sign. Yes, in the woo-woo way, but also in that very down-to-earth way of giving you the grit that it takes to make your dreams into a worldly reality. The Saturnian signs help us to do that, and Capricorn especially does. So this is a really great moon for setting intentions, especially around your purpose and work in the world. So that presence of Mercury on the Galactic Centre brings a kind of a cosmic vibe to this moon, this very practical and grounded earthly moon. We also have a nice trine with Uranus and Juno making up an Earth trine. And Juno is a planet of partnership. Uranus, as we know in Taurus right now, is the planet of surprises and creative disruption and those things that come to us out of the blue, the thunderbolts that come into our lives for good or ill. Uranus is always unpredictable. So there's an element of new unpredictable things coming in that you're going to need to partner with in really specific ways. I think in one sense, this is exciting that you might be embarking on a new creative partnership. And it also urges us to be flexible in those places in our lives, those earth sign placements where we can be a little bit inflexible. So I encourage you to really access your deep resilience and your flexibility, and not just to reject the new surprising things that come in this week offhand, but think about them and think about how you can partner with the things, even if they feel a little bit uncomfortable at first. Working with Uranus isn't the easiest, especially Uranus and Taurus that wants to come and disrupt us in those places where we're fixed. But the rewards can be pretty spectacular, especially this year as Uranus and Jupiter are hanging out together in the sign of Taurus. So this is actually good practice for that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction later in the year, where we're really going to be asked to lean into what's new in order to get the beautiful rewards that Jupiter can bring us if we're flexible and welcome in the new. I have 4 planets in Taurus. It's not the easiest thing for me either. So those Taurus Capricorn places within us, those places that can be a little bit rigid and fixed, are really going to be challenged in a good way around this new moon. So my suggestions to you for rolling with the energy this week, I have a few suggestions that I'm going to share now, some supports from the mineral realm, from the realm of the plant spirits to support us through these changing times. And before I share those with you, I just want to share a couple of books that I have on my shelf that I think are pertinent to this week of Mercury-Neptune. That Mercury-Neptune vibe is going to be with us all week. So one, if you're kind of new to the idea of working with synchronicities in your life, this book by Robert Moss called Sidewalk Oracles is this really fun, playful approach to welcoming mercurial magic into your life and working with the outer world as a world of symbols. This is a really fun book that gives you some easy, playful, day-to-day exercises that you can do to bring more positive synchronicities into your life. Sidewalk Oracles by Robert Moss. Okay, and if you're already really familiar with mercurial magic and you're already working deeply in the symbolic realms and working with all the synchronicities that pop up, then you might want to go back to the source and read Synchronicity by Carl Jung and really get scholarly and nerd out on what this whole thing is about coincidence and synchronicity and how it can help us to develop our souls and psyches. So those are my 2 reading suggestions. Let's look at some fun mineral and plant supports. Come on into my study. Let's take a look at some remediations for the coming week. Hi, Pearl. Let's light some candles, and then we'll take a look at a flower essence, an essential oil, a couple of crystals, and a tarot card to help us with the energies of the next couple of weeks. So we have walnut Bach flower essence. This helps us to break cycles and prepares us for Pluto ingress next week. Lavender oil is just going to help to soothe us through these transitions.
And we have a beautiful labradorite, which is a stone of psychic connection. This is great for Mercury on the Galactic Centre. For the new moon, let's have our moonstones in our pockets or wear them. And let's open up the box. These are my tarot cards that I've had for 50 years. And look at who's here to help us. And it's the Empress, reminding us to ground into our creative nature.
So I hope you're going to find those suggestions helpful as we navigate the energies this week. And I just wanted to remind you that if you've made it to the end of the video, drop into the comments and let me know that you have. Maybe mention what your favorite support was. It was the labradorite? Was it the lavender sandalwood? What did you really like? And if you're going to be working with this new moon, I have a gift for you. It's new moon journaling pages for the entire year of 2024, as well as a little bit of guidance about how to journal with and set intentions with the new moons. So I'm going to drop the link to your free access to that PDF in the description under the video. If you enjoyed this video, I'll be back every week with further forecasts, and I would love it if you would like and subscribe. I'm Bronwyn. It's been a delight to spend this time with you, and I'll see you soon.